This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts Luke Sylvia and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic. What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. It is March 14th, 2022. Jonathan Osborne here. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Luke Sylvia. Luke, how are you?
I'm in a lot of pain. I'm in a lot of pain. I hate referees. I hate minute restrictions. I hate it all.
Tonight was rough. The game ended probably close to like an hour ago, and now that we've been like prepping for the pod and all that, like I forgot about it briefly because you, me, and Kevin were just kind of chilling out, chopping it up, and yeah, now I'm back to being sad and upset and mad again.
Chopping it up like Kevin's beard. Am I right?
Wow, people are not going to be happy to hear that, but that is the truth. Kevin must have took like 5-6 inches off the beard easily. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still got a pretty solid beard, more than you and I put together could grow.
Yes,
but R.I.P. to Kevin's beard. It was pretty legit.
There's still some really stuff there, but it's more tight to the face.
It's still a beard.
It looks, he looks good. To be honest with you,
handsome. He's a handsome fella.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I agree.
What's funny, Luke, the last time that Kev was on the pod, like a week and a half ago,
okay,
he and I were just chatting after, and I was like, what's going on with the beard? You ever get like food caught in and stuff? He's like, no, I don't eat like a 2-year-old, so I don't, nothing happens, right? And then the other day, Kev was eating like eggs or something, got yolk in his beard, and that's when he's like, nope, we're done here. He decided to cut the beard. So, it's funny how things work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what Luke is referring to is the Magic's overtime loss. We're recording this Sunday night. 114-116 at home to the Philadelphia 76ers, a game that lost coming in overtime. We'll talk more about that game in a little bit later, in a little bit here. But yeah, the referees, if there was ever a game to blame the referees, that one was pretty egregious, Luke.
I didn't like it, but I also think it had a lot to do with who you're going against and the free throw merchants themselves, Joel Embiid and James Harden. They combined for 32 free throw attempts and made 28 of them. So what are you gonna do? They score 116. I thought that obviously we're gonna get into it, but I thought the Magic they played well for the most part, as well as you can when you're playing against dudes that could beat you from the outside and also get to the inside and get fouls whenever they want. So,
if there was ever a good loss, this was a good loss. But again, we'll get to the Philadelphia 76ers game. We'll talk about that really at length in just a bit here. Couple of housekeeping items. First of all, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so that you get updates whenever we post new videos, which is usually twice a week. So I really would appreciate that. And then if you guys are ever interested in helping financially support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/the Sixth Man Show. I know you cannot believe it. Yes, we have a Patreon. And we shout out all of our new patrons whenever we have them. And we shout out every patron that we have every episode, which is what we're going to do right now. So super special shout out to Court Cousins, Drew Gooden, Armin, Keith Garcia, Zico, Carson Tulo, Nathan Lynn, Ellis, Jonathan Borges, Norm L, Magic Player History, Giulio, Bailey, Matt Lyman, Eric Segovia, and Gabe Gaines. You guys are awesome. You help us do what we do. Really, really appreciate you guys. Let's get to the weekly state of the Orlando Magic. Luke, your Orlando Magic went 2-2 this week with a 102-99 loss at home on Tuesday to the Phoenix Suns. It was a Mikal Bridges block on Franz Wagner away from that game going into overtime. But then you get a 108-102 win over the Pelicans on Wednesday, a 118-110 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves at home on Friday, and then tonight, Sunday, a 116-114 overtime loss to the 76ers. This week brings the Magic, Luke, to a record of 18 wins, 51 losses. They have the worst record in the Eastern Conference and the second worst record in the NBA, just above the Houston Rockets. Coming into Sunday, the Magic were 29th in offensive rating, 20th in defensive rating, 27th in net rating. But in 9 games since the All-Star break, Luke, the Magic lead the league in defensive rating. Quick injury report, it's just Jonathan Isaac and Bol that continue to be out. Jalen Suggs left tonight's contest against the Philadelphia 76ers with the right ankle sprain that he's been dealing with the last week or so here. So we don't know what it's going to look like if we're going to see Jalen on Tuesday when we take on the Spurs. But we hope that he recovers pretty quickly. But it's nice that the injury report, as we get closer to the end of the season, Luke, is starting to dwindle down a little bit. And it is that time of year, Luke. We started this a couple of weeks ago where we are going to start going through the Tankathon on each episode. So Tankathon.com, as a lot of you know, has the NBA Draft Lottery Simulator with the top 3 teams all having a 52.1% chance of ending up in the top 4 and a 14% chance of ending up with the number 1 pick overall. But the higher you are in terms of the draft lottery dictates how low you can fall. So right now, the Magic are number 2 behind the Houston Rockets. So the furthest the Magic would be able to fall would be 6, where Sacramento currently is. We're going to go ahead and run the lottery here. The rules are you only run it once. You share your results, clicking Sim Lottery, and the Magic fell to 5th.
Dang it.
With the Oklahoma City Thunder jumping into the top 4 and Sacramento as well. So OKC, Detroit, Houston, Sacramento, and then the Orlando Magic there. Just goes to show you can have the best odds and you can still fall pretty far.
Have we had better than the 4th pick or 5th pick doing these?
We have not.
Has it been 5th pick every time?
I think we had the 6th pick once. I don't know. Maybe it was the 5th each time, but regardless, it doesn't feel good at all.
We've done it 3 times, I think.
Yeah. And, neither of those times is really turning out the way that we want it to. So, like tonight, we talked about that being a good loss. But the other night, you beat the Timberwolves, and some people are not happy about that. But, it just can,
we're
every time we do
daddies,
this, it reinforces.
So I just,
that's a fact. 2-0 against the Timberwolves. I don't know why you don't them on the season.
Chalk it up as a W every time you see them.
Well, let's talk about it, Luke. So the Timberwolves come into Orlando. Now, the last time the Magic played the Timberwolves, that was really the Franz Wagner coming out party, where I think he had 14 fourth-quarter points against the Timberwolves in Minnesota. He had the big dunk towards the end of that game, really to cap off the victory. So, another big win for the Orlando Magic as the Timberwolves come to Orlando. The Magic, Luke, in this game were up by as much as 18 at one point as the Timberwolves started to come back, later on in the second half. But the Magic were just able to make the plays down the stretch that they needed to and pull out the 118-110 win. Game started getting a little bit closer, towards the end of the game, but in my opinion, never totally felt like it was the result was in doubt. It felt like the Magic were going to find a way to win this game, Luke, and that is exactly what they did. Big night for Mo Bamba, by the way. 27 points, 12 rebounds, 10 of 15 from the floor, 5 of 8 from the three-point line. Talking about Mo Bamba, this was probably the most complete game for Mo start to finish. Obviously, he's not going to shoot 5 of 8 from the three-point line every night, but I think had at least 3 or 4 lobs in this game at the rim, something that we've been asking for Mo Bamba for basically his entire career, it feels like. But yeah, you have the big game against Philadelphia earlier in the year where he had, I believe it was 28 first half points and then 4 in the second half. So this felt like the most complete game of Mo Bamba's career, Luke.
Yeah, and yet it still felt like it was basically what he did to do it just isn't like what he can give you every single night on the court. Like on just crazy things that he was doing, and unrealistically 5 of 8 from 3. I mean, he's a 34% for 3-point shooter on the year. I mean, this isn't normal, but he'll give this to you every so often. And then, like you said, like 3 or 4 times where he's just getting easy oops, he's easy dunks, whatever it might be. It just felt like that's what he was giving us. And I mean, it's great if you can pull it out in a win. Also, the Magic been shooting the crap out of the ball from 3 in the last few games. We'll talk obviously about the Philly game, but they shoot 41% from 3 against the TWolves, shoot 40%. Game before that against the Pelicans, shoot like 38. They're just shooting really well right now. They're rebounding well, at least they did against Minnesota. Out rebounded Minnesota by 12. I mean, they've just looked really good. Dare I say, just since Markelle Fultz came back.
I mean, you don't have to dare to say that. I think at this point, that's just a bona fide fact. I don't know that there's any way really to argue that anyone can turn the game on and see when Markelle Fultz comes into the game, he really just changes the game. And that's exactly what happened in the course of both of the games that we're going to talk about. The Minnesota game was kind of back and forth. Markelle comes in and just elevates the team instantly, and same thing with the 76ers game tonight. But with Mo, I mean, yeah, like I said, he's not going to shoot 5 of 8 from 3 every night, but just the diving to the rim, the effort that he showed defensively and rebounding the basketball, those are things that I think if he wants to bad enough, he could do that every night. I don't see any reason. Defense and rebounding just comes down to effort, and it seems like lately he's been diving to the rim a bit more. We saw a great cut from him tonight that I think Markelle found him for an easy dunk. But it doesn't even have to be the pick and roll. It just has to be weak side defender falls asleep when he's in the corner and just dive to the rim. And if you have a guy like Markelle in there, he's gonna find you and you're gonna get an easy bucket. So I mean, with Mo, I didn't want to get too excited. Obviously, it was a great game and it was a ton of fun to watch. But you don't want to be like, oh, Mo Bamba is finally here. Because, how many times have we done that? And then, just to jump ahead a little bit, tonight in 32 minutes, 5 points, 5 rebounds, 2 of 7 from the floor. So, and we talked about that before the game. We're like, are we going to have the Mo Bamba conversation again tonight when we record? And it was, well, if he has a good game, if he replicates that, then sure. But if he has a bad game, then it's just kind of same old Mo Bamba. He'll have 5 or 6 of these meh games, have a handful of, okay, he was pretty solid tonight. And then every 15 to 20 games, he gives you a, whoa, Mo Bamba looked great tonight. And I guess the only thing I want to ask you, Luke, you mentioned that you wouldn't be a big fan of, kind of off air, you mentioned that you wouldn't be a big fan of bringing Mo back as like the, solidified backup center next season.
Yeah, I just don't know, because he doesn't. I mean, we've talked about it, ad nauseum. Obviously, like if he's got a bigger guy on him, then he's probably barbecue chicken. If he's got a faster guy on him, i.e. tonight, Tobias Harris, so you get switched on to him, or Joel Embiid being bigger than him, it just seems like there's always a mismatch, and it's such a liability defensively, despite, I know, guys, what you guys are thinking, but he averages a good amount of blocks a game. That doesn't mean good defense, and it gives me a headache to watch Mo Bamba get switched on to some of these guys, and you just know they're going right to him because that's what they wanted the whole time. I just don't know that I can trust him night in and night out on the bench. I just feel like there'd be so many times where I'd be like blaming a game or a rotation on Mo Bamba throughout the season if he was just strictly a backup. I don't know what if that's what how his attitude would be either. I think that he can get dejected pretty easily, and I just don't know how he'd react to being on the bench as a young 7-footer. I think that he would probably think like, I've got a lot more in my motor than you guys are suggesting and more I'm getting credit for. He just has no post moves. He can't guard guys defensively unless someone blows by him and he gets a block from behind, or just happens to come over and help and get a block. Like, there's times where he looks great, but there's just so many times where he just doesn't.
So I think there is definitely a lot of truth to the argument that he's not a great defender. However, B-Ball Index, their D LeBron stat, they have Mo Bamba ranked as one of the most impactful defenders in the league. Now, I think what that comes from is the threat of his shot blocking ability. I mean, he's a great shot blocker. We all said that. You said that. But, the individual defender portion, whether it's like you said, guarding a smaller guy like Tobias when he's getting destroyed like he did tonight against Joel Embiid, and then you have Wendell on Joel Embiid. But he still is valuable because of the way that he impacts it's all about the perception that he's this dynamic elite shot blocker, which I think there is a solid argument to that.
He's a good shot blocker.
He is. So even though he's not a great defender, he still provides impact defensively. At least that's what the D LeBron rating would lead you to believe. But as we've seen, advanced metrics are not the end-all, be-all. If you saw that and you'd be like, oh, Mo Bamba's a great defender, not necessarily true. He is an elite rim protector and shot blocker. But I do still think we might be kind of underselling his value a little bit defensively because he's in there. Guards are thinking twice about getting to the rim, and that does help your defense. You know what I mean? So I don't really know how I feel about Mo. It all comes down to what Mo wants. If he really wants to be in Orlando because he's got a lot of friends here and he's been here the last 4 years, if he wants to stay here and he's okay, making $5 or $6 million a year, $7 million maybe, to be the backup center, he's really going to buy into that role, then I'm fine with it. If he can, he's been shooting the ball better as of late. I know he's at 34% on the year, but it at least feels like he's been shooting the ball better recently. And the perception I think of Mo is, he's got a nice stroke. He's a good shooter, and teams seem to respect that from Mo. So even though the value may not be true, it's the perception that he provides defensively, and I think in terms of helping stretch the floor, where again, in terms of backup centers across the league, I think you could probably do a lot worse than Mo Bamba at this point. But that's another conversation I think for another day.
In the last 10, Jonathan, by the way, he's shooting 4 threes a game at 41%, 41.5, 52% from the field.
Yeah, so he's been efficient lately, and that just kind of helps the perception that he's a great shooter. So we all know the truth. 34% is not lighting the world on fire. I believe that's just below the league average.
It's fine for a big man.
The perception that he's a stretch big.
Yeah, it is fine for a big man. Like, I think if you see that on a big man's numbers, then you're going to think, it's pretty good. I'll take that from my big man. It's just like when they begin to shoot 4.5 threes a game, that it starts to become, a little bit concerning. But yeah, Mo's young. I'm interested to see kind of what happens with him, but I just would personally rather just get a solid veteran center for the future.
Yeah. Enough about Mo Bamba at least. This Magic game against the Timberwolves, Luke, I think, being down 18, it was the biggest comeback of the year for the Magic. At this point, the Magic have 9 comeback wins on the season, so 9 of their 18 wins have been comebacks of at least 10 or more points. The 18 point comeback again was the biggest of the year, and this is 3 of the last 5 Magic wins that have been comeback wins, 10 points or more. And again, being down 18, in the first half, it was like, okay, this game really has a chance to get out of hand pretty quickly. And the Magic just kept fighting. Again, Mo Bamba was great. Obviously, Markelle Fultz, 14 points. Mo Wagner, 18 points, 6 rebounds, 5 of 8 from the floor in this game. Wendell Carter, 20 points, 10 rebounds. Cole Anthony, 15 points. Relatively efficient night for Cole Anthony. So it was just one of the most fun games of the year for the Magic. Minnesota Timberwolves have been a great team as of late. They're fighting for playoff position still. And you get 25 points out of Anthony Edwards, 21 and 13 from Karl Anthony Towns, and you're able to withstand every run that they threw at you, especially towards the end of the game, and you come out victorious. Probably one of the best Amway crowds that we've had all season. Kobe Price was talking about it on Twitter, saying it was the loudest that he's heard Amway since he joined the beat. So it was just really a fun game to watch for the Magic. If every game was like that, Luke, even if the Magic aren't particularly good, which I think now with Markelle Fultz, you kind of have to ask the question, are the Magic good? Because they're certainly not bad right now. But, Luke, this was one of the most fun games of the year. And when we look back at this team in particular, I think that's going to be a signature win on the season for the Magic and for Jamal Mosley.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the Amway was into it, which is huge. I know that some fans of other teams might listen to someone say that about their team and be like, "Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they be loud and into the game?" They don't understand. Like, it's not normally that way. There's a lot of casuals. There's a lot of away team fans at every game, as a lot of y'all listening to this know. But you could feel it. Like, you could feel, like, genuinely feel the crowd through the TV. And it was one of the few times that I can remember in the last few years, really, where you can hear the crowd through the TV and the Amway is loud. So it was great. I mean, I'm happy for the team. I hope that it gave the young guys a glimpse into what it could be like for them night in and night out. It doesn't have to always be this way, where opposing teams' fans just dominate the entire arena. It doesn't have to be that way. If you win games, you can get a city excited. And I think that just so many people in the city of Orlando want to be Magic fans, but unfortunately they're going to be fair weather, and you got to be winning games. It's more fun that way. I mean, you and I can attest to that. You guys listening to this can attest to that. It's just more fun. And this team looked good. They came back. It was a great win. I mean, you look at quarter by quarter. That third quarter and the second quarter, 36 points and 37 points. You hold the TWolves to 17 fourth quarter points to the point where it doesn't even matter that you only scored 21 in that quarter. I mean, just an all-around really great win for the organization, to be quite honest. Like I said, I hope it gave the young guys a glimpse into what the arena and what the city could be like for them, as winners.
Okay, you ready? Are you ready to be mad now?
Yeah.
We can talk about the 76ers game. Okay, Sunday night. Friday was so much fun, and the 76ers are coming to town, and it's like, Mo Bamba seems to have like a little bit of extra juice when he goes up against Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid gave us a 50-burger the last time that we played. Markelle Fultz going against his old team, always fun. And for a while, Luke, this game was really fun. Magic up by 5 at the end of the first quarter. I think you're up 12 at halftime on the Philadelphia 76ers. And then it just seemed like the referees, the officials, stepped in, and in this game really just decided enough is enough. These young whippersnappers of these Orlando Magic, they had some fun in the first half, and now we're just gonna crush their dreams. And the second half particularly, I don't have the half by half stats in front of me. NBA.com hasn't updated that just yet, but 37 free throws tonight from the Philadelphia 76ers, 32 of those by Joel Embiid and James Harden. Joel Embiid with 17, Harden with 15. The Magic shoot 20 free throws on the night. So the Philadelphia 76ers basically doubled up the Magic in terms of free throw attempts tonight. And the Magic only shoot 6 more threes in this game than the Philadelphia 76ers. So it's not like the Magic were just hoisting from 3 the entire night, and Philadelphia was, much more aggressive at, getting to the rim or anything like that. It just seemed time and time again, no matter what Joel Embiid and James Harden did, if anyone came even in, of morning breath distance of those two guys, it was, a foul and those guys going to the line. But credit to this team for continuing to fight, Luke. For a long time this season, the third quarter is where the Magic would fall apart. And, Philadelphia goes on a good run, but going into the fourth quarter, you still have a chance to win this game if you're the Orlando Magic. And unfortunately, again, the referees made sure that they were going to do whatever they could, in my opinion, to help the 76ers tonight. This game goes into overtime, Luke. And then basically, it comes down to Cole Anthony just not making the shot at the end. Gets a pretty difficult look over Matisse Thybulle, one of the better on-ball defenders in the league, and it just doesn't drop for us. But you're that shot away from disrupting a bunch of Philadelphia 76ers fans in the crowds tonight. The parade to the free throw line. Shout out to Dante Markelle. He was pretty upset, in the post game broadcast talking about the free throw discrepancy tonight. And Luke, what was really a fun night, especially for folks that are looking for this team to continue to get better, and anyone that's a fan of Markelle Fultz, 8 points and 11 assists in just under 19 minutes tonight, was a really fun game until the parade to the free throw line started.
Yeah, and I want to. What I'll say about the Sixers is Joel Embiid and James Harden have a very boring, specifically James Harden, a very boring way of playing basketball. Like you said it in the post-game recap, a boring brand of basketball. It's a boring way to play, and it's true. It is boring, but these guys have mastered it. These guys know how to get to the line on nights where they shoot 9 of 28 from the field, talking about Joel Embiid, and 5 of 19 from the field. It doesn't matter, because if you know how to get to the free throw line, you're also getting superstar calls because you are a superstar. And not only they get to the free throw line, they each only miss 2. I mean, these guys are professionals. Some might say professional free throw shooters. They're great. I mean, and in terms of the game tonight, it showed just how tough the Sixers are in a game where they probably weren't that happy with how the game turned out. They shoot 38% from the field. They do shoot better from 3, 37%, but the Magic still shoot almost 42% from 3. It just felt like when you've got Harden bringing the ball up the court, Jonathan, they always bring up the screen for him, whether it be Embiid or whoever it might be. And you know that if you don't go over the screen, then James Harden's going to have a wide open 3. We saw it multiple times tonight. Just thankfully, Harden shot 3 of 11 from 3. A lot of those had to have been, if I had to guess, a lot of them were wide open of those 11.
At least 2 or 3 of them, like nobody within 10 feet of him.
Right, and it's just it's a miscommunication. I mean, I hope that wasn't the plan, to not go over the screen and fight over it, but I'm going to say chalk it up to miscommunication defensively between, who was being screened and who was guarding the ball. But yeah, I mean, you see that happen. You play up on the ball, you overhelp, automatically the ball's going in down low, whether it be to Embiid or DeAndre Jordan. And the craziest part about this, Jonathan, the Sixers play tomorrow night on prime time television on ESPN against the Denver Nuggets. And Tobias plays 44 minutes, Embiid plays 41, Maxey plays 45, Harden plays 44, and Niang plays 36. Niang basically ate up like TWolves minutes because Thybulle only played 18. So it was surprising to me. I mean, you look at it, the guys on the bench play 36 minutes in Niang, 12 minutes DeAndre, Shake Milton 12, and then Isaiah Joe played 13 minutes. And that was it. And so it was pretty crazy to me. Like near the end, you could see Embiid getting fired up. Near the end, they were like, "Nah, we came this far. We have to win this game." They're going to be gassed tomorrow, and so I'm interested to see kind of what their rotations look like tomorrow, as a result of pulling out all the stops to beat the Orlando Magic tonight. That was probably one of the craziest parts to me, looking at like the minutes and the rotations. Dell plays almost 40. Cole plays 37. I mean, it was a crazy game. Fultz, 8 points, 11 assists, 4 rebounds in 19 minutes. In 6 games, Fultz has a plus 13, plus or minus, which is pretty crazy for a team that's going to have some of the best odds in the lottery. I know it's only 6 games, but it's the Markelle effect. And if he doesn't have a minutes restriction, I think the Magic win this game tonight.
Well, the 76ers really needed the win tonight. The win over the Magic vaulted them over the Bucks into second in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, they knew that going into the game. And if I'm them, I'd definitely rather play. At least in my opinion, Toronto over the Cavs. That's a whole nother discussion. But so they needed the win tonight. But yeah, some questionable decisions late, in my opinion. The whole overtime and the closing time of the fourth quarter, we don't see Chuma Okeke. Chuma Okeke just 20 minutes in this game, 13 points on 5 of 7 from the floor, 3 of 5 from the 3-point line for Okeke tonight. And you have Bamba in the game guarding Tobias Harris, where you could have had Okeke. You don't have the ability to have Jalen Suggs. He leaves this game late, with the sprained right ankle that we talked about. You can't have Markelle Fultz as he's still on the minutes restriction. When Markelle comes out with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, Luke, I'm pulling this up now. The Magic were up by 6 with 7:05 to go. Magic called timeout. Markelle Fultz comes out, and then we kind of all knew that where the game was headed at that point. Now,
I thought it was going to get uglier than it did. So
I did too. I didn't think we'd even make it to overtime. But Joel Embiid missing some free throws late in this game gave the Magic another chance to kind of get back into it. But Markelle comes out of this game. It's night and day right now. This team has a switch. Markelle comes into the game. If that's the team that we have for 82 games this year, the Magic are a playoff contender, in my opinion. Without him, the offense is just stagnant. There's not as much energy. Like, he energizes the team on both ends of the floor because the offense really gets going, and then they're like, all right, offense is really going. We need to pick it up defensively, and then they just look great. We got some minutes with Jalen Suggs and Markelle Fultz at the towards the beginning of this game when Markelle subbed in. Right now, he's essentially like the sixth man, which is great because you get to see him with some of the starters. And Jalen playing off of Markelle looked incredible. I think he had like 10 first quarter points tonight, if I'm not mistaken. Just making plays all over the place in the first quarter. Had a steal in the first quarter, had a block. Again, I believe probably he scored 10 points tonight. I believe all of those 10 points came in the first quarter, kind of playing off of Markelle Fultz. So it's just so apparent how much Markelle is lifting the team right now. And yeah, if there was a bad loss to be had, this is exactly what you want. A close game down the stretch. You had a lead on the 76ers. You had a 17-point lead tonight on the 76ers that obviously you dwindled away and you lose this game. But you're up big on a big team. You're destroying them in the first half. You're still hanging with them in the fourth quarter. You go into overtime. Guys like Franz and Wendell and Mo and Cole and RJ are playing big minutes down the stretch, clutch minutes against this team. Cole, was great. In the fourth quarter into overtime, like 3 straight threes for the Magic to try to keep them in this game. Misses, a couple of down the stretch, and then misses the big one at the end. But Cole was, phenomenal down the stretch in this game. Again, keeping the Magic in the game. And you get the loss. I mean, Detroit loses to the Clippers tonight, so you're still staying where you want to be in terms of your lottery position. The Houston Rockets also lose to the New Orleans Pelicans, so in terms of tanking and your draft position, this is about as good of a loss as it can get, Luke. All right, let's talk about the week ahead, Luke. So it was a rough week for the Magic. You start and you end the week with a loss. You kind of get 2 losses in the middle of the week there. So coming up on Tuesday, the Magic continue their current homestand. You get Brooklyn Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Then Thursday, you're going to be at home versus the Detroit Pistons. It's going to be a big game in terms of lottery implications. And then Sunday, the 20th, you're at home versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. That game will start at 6 o'clock. Luke, how do you feel the Magic are going to perform this week?
It's tough to know. I think that the Thunder game and the Pistons game are very winnable. I don't see why you couldn't win those games. I'm riding the Magic wave, Jonathan. I'm going 2-1.
With winning, you're losing to the Nets and you're beating the Pistons and the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Yep.
I am going to go 1-2. I think they beat the Pistons, but I think they lose to the Nets. And then that Oklahoma City game is the first game of a back-to-back for the Magic, I believe. So maybe that's the game that we don't see Fultz play. We know right now he's not playing back-to-backs, and it's really just going to come down to that for me. You're either going to win that game against the Oklahoma City Thunder if Markelle plays, or the following. I'm looking at the wrong week here. We don't have a back-to-back. It's next week, Oklahoma City at OKC, Tuesday and Wednesday. It was Oklahoma City. That's why I was getting confused about the back-to-back. In that case, yeah, maybe I'll be with you there with the 2-1 with the loss to the Nets, and then wins over Detroit and the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's going to be those. If we're talking about teams with the best young cores in the league, you got to think of Detroit with Cade Cunningham. You look at Oklahoma City. Obviously you're looking at SGA. You're looking at Josh Giddey, Dort, some of those other guys. So it's going to be a nice measuring stick for the Magic Thursday and Sunday, unless those teams get into tank mode, which we've seen them do before. So
those are heavy tank implications, both of those games this week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if we're looking at NBA standings right now across the league, obviously you've got Houston Rockets down there at the bottom. Then you've got the Magic, 18-51, Pistons 18-50, and then OKC 20-47. Probably not going to catch the Pacers if you're the Thunder, so you might as well try to lose out like the way that they did last year, absolutely disgracefully, sitting SGA for the last 2 months of the season, I might add. But I could definitely see them talking themselves into, why don't we get into that bottom/top 3? So we'll see what happens. But if those games are competitive, I think they have the chance to be pretty fun. Right now, it feels like if Markelle Fultz is in the lineup, the Magic have a really good chance to win, but you have to win those non-Fultz minutes. Mm-hmm. It feels like a sure thing when Markelle comes in, the Magic are going to take over and go on a run. But without Markelle, things are getting a little bit hairy lately. I'm going to pull up Markelle's. If you want to talk about anything that you want, I'm pulling up his on-off minutes right now.
Yeah, well, like you said, we should be seeing Fultz there, in those games, just because it's not the back-to-back that we were thinking of. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with Fultz, like when they ramp up his minutes, if they ramp up his minutes. He's 6 games in. I don't know if we've discussed it before, but I don't know if they actually end up ramping up those minutes or what they end up doing there.
So Markelle, his net rating is plus 7.6. The Magic are 7.6 points per 100 possessions better with Markelle Fultz on the floor. That is a massive difference in terms of your net rating. For anybody who thought Markelle was so great last year and was so impactful in his minutes with the Magic, his on-off, he was a plus 2.6. The Magic were plus 2.6 points per 100 possessions better with Markelle Fultz in the lineup last year. So far this season, it's plus 7.6. That is absolutely incredible. So what we are seeing, the eye test matches the metrics right now.
Yep.
The Magic are just a million times better with Markelle Fultz on the floor.
Well,
and it's
not a shock.
It's a shame that we're not going to see this team really to its full potential this year, obviously with Markelle Fultz still being on the minutes restriction, and then we know we're not going to see Jonathan Isaac. And you know what? I was thinking about this today, Luke. So far this year, the Magic have done exactly the opposite of what we expect them to at every instance.
Yep.
So Jonathan Isaac's going to come back with like 5 games left by that logic.
That'll make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, but it's just kind of the way that it's gone this year. Everything that we've said, they've decided to do the opposite. We thought they were going to, for sure, trade or, Gary Harris and Terrence Ross. Then we were like, oh, for sure they'll buy Gary Harris out. They didn't do that. Oh, Markelle might be back by opening night. He's not. Oh, he's practicing with the team, just before, Thanksgiving. Oh, he's going to be back in a couple of weeks. Oh, Jonathan Isaac's going to be back, by Christmas. Oh, well, they'll both be back by the start of the year. Oh, well, maybe they'll be back after the All-Star break. So this has just been on and on and on. Nobody knows what this front office is going to do. But, yeah, Jonathan's not playing, but it would kind of be nice to see him, in 2022. If we don't see him in October, then I mean, I've said this a million times. I don't know what I'll do, but it'll be sad times.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Luke, anything else?
Nope.
All right. That is going to do it for this episode. For Luke Sylvia, this is Jonathan Osborne. You guys have been listening to The Sixth Man Show. We will catch you guys next time. See ya. Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and Stitcher to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. Please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It would really help us out a lot. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Sixth Man Show and like us on Facebook. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic.